Voting is a civic duty. Let's register on the electoral list. This is a message from Equinoxe Television.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining me on this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe Television. Our major stories tonight: more than 50 families face an uncertain future after their homes were demolished and over 2 hectares of land seized in the neighborhood known as Cemetery in New Bell, the Douala 2 subdivision. Despite ongoing court proceedings, the affected residents claim an individual has started building on the disputed site, prompting them to protest. Away from that, a lightning strike has brought devastation to a farm in Bonkeso, Fundang subdivision in the Northwest region, killing at least 33 cows worth 12 million francs CFA. The incident is a stark reminder of the region's vulnerability to extreme weather conditions caused by climate change. Those are top stories. Stay with us for greater details. This is a 6 p.m. edition of the primetime newscast on Equinoxe Television, and for presentation, I am Immaculate Fogwe. Over 50 families are in a precarious situation after the demolition of homes and seizure of at least 2 hectares of land in the New Bell Cemetery neighborhood in Douala. The affected residents who recently protested on the disputed land claim that the dispute, or despite ongoing court proceedings, an individual has begun construction on the site. Malaglory has more on the story.
Justice, they say, is all they need. The local inhabitants of the New Bell Cemetery neighborhood, Douala, holding placards with different inscriptions calling for help. They say since the illegal demolition of their houses in 2024, they've not had peace. While struggling to settle the matter in court, construction works have started on the site. According to the victims, a ministerial order warned that activities be halted on the site till further notice, yet not respected. They complained they were informed in court that their documents had disappeared. They now call on the head of state to intervene in order for their lands to be restored. The protesters say the situation has caused the lives of 5 individuals in the neighborhood. About 5 people have died because of this land problem. The shock of losing a home after years of investment was unbearable to these people. The victims complained that the illegal demolition of their houses has inflicted untold hardship on them. Also alleged they were given no official notice before the demolition exercise. How they survive is a mystery they can't explain, she says. Further explaining that they were forcefully sent out of their homes and their lands seized with no justification. He says their children can't go to school. The over 50 families and victims of the New Bell demolition are now stranded, waiting on authorities to intervene.
Malaglory reporting there. Away from that, a devastating lightning strike in Bonkeso, Fundang subdivision, has claimed the lives of 33 cows valued at over 12 million francs CFA. This tragic incident underscores the escalating impact of climate change, which is leading to more intense storms and increased lightning strikes. Local reports indicate that meat from the deceased animals, allegedly sold without proper veterinary inspection, has already reached markets as far as Bello. Bullstella, chief correspondent in the Northwest region, has the details.
This is what the Aldo of Mentang 1 Aldo Reed, Aldo Idrisu, and Alaji Hassana were left with when lightning struck in Bonkesu in Fundang subdivision on April 23, 2025. At least 33 of their cattle were killed instantly, costing them over 12 million francs CFA. In addition to the loss of livestock, a disturbing development is unfolding. Local sources reveal that meat from the dead cows, which lack any veterinary inspection, is being sold in markets as far as Bello subdivision, posing a significant public health risk to consumers. Prior to the incident, the National Observatory on Climate Change had predicted such occurrences, warning that communities in regions like the Northwest region could face more severe weather events as the climate continues to warm. While the community of Bonkesu is yet to recover from the incident and the growing risks of lightning, calls are growing for stronger measures to address climate change. Strategies such as improving early warning systems, enforcing sustainable farming practices, and promoting afforestation efforts can help mitigate the impact of climate change and protect both people and the environment.
Northwest Chief Correspondent Bo Stella reporting there. Residents of the Mayutanaga division in the Fana region face significant challenges due to lack of birth certificates and national identity cards. This issue hinders their ability to exercise their civic duties, including voting for the change mainly having clamoring for the past months. Seri Chakutio has more on the story.
Despite the persistent insecurity in the Mayutanaga division of the Far North region, young volunteers mobilized to support Elecom teams in raising awareness and registering voters. Unfortunately, many residents don't have birth certificates, much less of a national identity card, making the registration process difficult.
The
first problem is birth certificates, because we don't have a council here where the birth certificate should be given to the child immediately after birth. Our children up to class 6 don't have birth certificates. 80% of the population doesn't have a national identity card, which becomes very difficult. In neighborhoods like Turu, Zilevet and Mabas, some displaced inhabitants have fled to unknown destinations. Others, although now living in secure areas, refuse to register, claiming that they are not at home. Many displaced people come from high-risk areas where their houses have been burnt. They have lost everything.
La carte d'identité est brûlée, l'acte de naissance est brûlé, la carte télécommande est brûlée, tout est brûlé. Ils n'ont plus l'accès.
They go for reconstruction, but the process is long and they end up losing patience. Registration for them is even another task.
Découragés, ils ne s'inscrivent pas.
In a bid to play their role as citizens, the local inhabitants are calling on the government to ask to find a solution to their problem of registration.
We leave the Fana region to the Adama region, where the governor, known as Kildadi Takike Buka, has alerted the Minister of Territorial Administration that the CBDM party is facing a decline in its region. According to the governor, the opposition parties, particularly those of the SDF, the UNDP, are the ones that are found on the field. He calls on the minister to sit up by going to the field in order to encourage more voters to register. We have greater details with Innocent Aze. Unfortunately, we'll not be having that report, but in the course of this newscast, we'll be coming back to a report done by Innocent Aze. Let's take this health page. Cameroon joins the world today to observe World Malaria Day. The disease remains a major health concern with a high mortality rate. As Cameroon joins the world, medics call on the population to respect preventive measures. Our reporter Asa Luciliegu was at the Mbopi Baptist Hospital and the Lakentini Hospital equally, where she spoke with some medics on how the disease is spread and how we can possibly prevent the disease. Her report.
Malaria cases continue to increase in Cameroon, with approximately 6.7 million cases and nearly 6,000 deaths reported in the year 2024. Malaria, a life-threatening disease, is spread to humans via the bite of an infected mosquito.
This mosquito is being harbored by standing water, which when they lay their eggs there, they spread. And so when you bite somebody, it spread. the disease, transmitted to one person from one person to another.
Fonken Cyril, malaria focal person from Bopi Baptist Hospital, says on daily basis they receive cases of infants, children under the age of 5, pregnant women, travelers, and people with HIV and AIDS who are at higher risk of severe infection.
A lot of people are being diagnosed of malaria these days, despite every other measures that the government is putting in place.
Despite measures to reduce the spread, various factors have contributed to the increase of malaria cases in Cameroon.
Many times, people don't take some measures put in place by government to reduce it, like preventive measures, keep the environment clean, and make sure that we don't have standing water around, use mosquito nets. So at the level of the hospitals, we are trying to do our best, following the measures put in place by the government. First, we make sure that every pregnant woman goes with mosquito nets for their first visitation. We ensure that throughout their antenatal clinic, they are given preventive treatment, which is Fansidam. Secondly, we advise everybody to have a mosquito net.
In a bid to curb the disease, Cameroon's Ministry of Public Health, through the Universal Health Coverage, declared in 2023 that services related to HIV and AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria were entirely free in hospitals. This is the case at the Lakentini Hospital in Douala, where malaria treatment has been free for children aged 0 to 5 years.
From 0 to 5 years is totally free, from the prevention to the treatment.
This year, the theme for World Malaria Day is Malaria Ends With Us, Reinvest, Reimagine, and Reunite.
And eradicating malaria in Cameroon is the surest way of saving many lives. Away from health, experts in Boya recently convened to examine emerging methods of cybercrime. During the conference, they highlighted the need for stringent reforms to be implemented by the government to combat this growing threat. Rex Afon has more insights on this.
Recently, in Cameroon's urban towns, there has been an increase in cybercrime, especially within the youthful population. This too, with new ways of operating.
Our children from the secondary education and even the primary section, they're already having iPads, they have phones, they are logging into many websites, and when you look at it, you will see that they are defaulting, though they are small.
Cyber criminals have derived different modus operandi. First, when it concerns companies, they first of all check the vulnerability of the company by using open source applications like Shodan. When they discover the vulnerability of the company, they will know whether they are sending a link on how to breach the system of the company. But for other scams or issues related to mobile banking, like the mobile operating companies in Cameroon, either they place calls or they use the SIM box to swindle money out of the account of individuals.
The laws of Cameroon prescribes a wide range of punishment for cyber criminals.
If you use cyberspace to commit offense of murder, of course, you suffer the maximum punishment. If you use it to extort money, there's a punishment for that. And these punishments, they range from simple offense to misdemeanor to aggravated offenses.
On a personal level, measures need to be taken by each individual to safeguard his or her internet space.
Many people don't know how to secure their devices. It's not more an issue of two-factor authentication. We have to go beyond and use multiple-factor authentication to secure our devices. You can include several questions or even a fingerprint to secure your system.
During this seminar organized by experts in cybersecurity, participants have been drilled on the dangers of involving in cybercrime and also the means through which they can prevent falling victims.
Now, back to the reports done by Innocent Aze, where we said the governor of the Dama region has alerted the Minister of Territorial Administration that the CBDM party is facing a decline in its region. According to the governor, the opposition parties, particularly the UNDP and SDF, are gaining grounds through aggressive voter registration campaigns, while the CBDM activists and officials are notably absent on the field. The governor is calling for urgent measures to revitalize the party. Innocent Aze tells us more.
In a correspondence addressed to the Minister of Territorial Administration earlier this month, Governor Keodazi Tagie Bukar of the Adamawa region states in distress that the CBDM party is dying in his area of jurisdiction. He made this remark following the literal involvement of CBDM activists and particularly local officials during this pre-electoral period to woo the population to get registered on the electoral list since resumption of the set operation in January 2025. The governor as well reports to his boss how the SDF organizes series of meetings between their leaders and certain targets, students and the suffering social class, promising them an end to their suffering if they participate in the upcoming presidential election in favor of the SDF. He also noted in the communique that during preparation for the CBDM party's anniversary celebration on March 24, 2024, the presence of those activists was barely noticeable on the ground, and local representatives were somewhat reluctant to get involved in the operational aspects of mobilizations and festivities, despite the motion of support addressed to the President of the Republic on that occasion. He furthered that hard-won strongholds risk being lost in the analysis of the current political environment due to the rejection of certain municipal executive heads from within the ranks of the CBDM by their own councils, even by the population, notably in Bay, Bankim and Gaundere 3. All these result to non-registration on the electoral list, which will undoubtedly have repercussions if a reversal of the party's strategy is not quickly accepted before the end of the pre-registration process. Another regret is on crossing of carpets to other parties in the region by some CBDM militants. He also raised the fear of the opposition launching a massive voter campaign targeting the population on social media through various WhatsApp groups, calling for regime change through voting. Given that 60% of the population owns an Android, the approach seems to be hitting the target to revive the CBDM party in the Adamawa region. The governor says it would be advisable, unless otherwise determined, for the governing bodies of this party at the local or regional level to take urgent steps to ensure a resounding victory for the CBDM in the 2025 elections through the deployment of a strategic convergence plan to preserve the gains made, reassure the undecided, and campaign for massive support from populations uninterested in politics through mass registrations to sustainably strengthen the CBDM's policy over time. It is desirable if the party's senior leadership agrees to appoint a new regional leader of the party with a strong and unifying personality, reassuring financial capacity, and capable of urgently revitalizing the CBDM's political life in the Adamawa region.
And now we talk religion. Over 200,000 guests and mourners, including several heads of state, are expected in Rome for the start of Pope Francis' funeral tomorrow at the St. Peter's Square. The Mass will be presided over by the Dean of the College of Cardinals. Staff Lady Anabila tells us more.
The funeral for the late Pope Francis is scheduled for Saturday, April 26 at 9:45 a.m. Rome time. The event will take place at the St. Peter's Square. The Mass will be presided over by Cardinal Giovanni Battista Re, following the Ordo Romani Pontificis, or the Roman Pontifical Order. In accordance with the Pope's wishes, the Holy Father will be laid to rest in the Santa Maria Maggiore Basilica, which is the Basilica of Saint Mary Major, a church which the late Pope visited over 100 times during his pontificate. That was before and after he made every international apostolic journey. The funeral marks the commencement of the Novendial, which is the beginning of the 9-day mourning period of Requiem Masses celebrated by different cardinals in St. Peter's Basilica. And the Novendial will end on Sunday, May 4. Since Wednesday, the number of Catholic faithful streaming into the Vatican continues to increase every passing day. As at now, over 128,000 mourners and Christians continue viewing the corpse of Pope Francis in long queues, with some standing for more than 5 hours in the line. The Vatican's Protocol Office announces that over 170 heads of state are expected in Rome on Saturday, including U.S. President Donald Trump, Emmanuel Macron of France, among others. The funeral of Pope Francis will be simpler than those of previous popes, following his last instructions. The Pope's coffin will be closed later Friday in prelude of the funeral rites, which resume on Saturday morning. The over 100 cardinals present in Rome have been intensifying prayers, including the Litany of the Saints, for the repose of the soul of the 265th successor of Saint Peter.
And that's all for tonight's edition of the news. Thank you so much for watching. Have a lovely weekend, and may God bless Cameroon. Bye-bye for now.